So everything seems to be working fine, so we're actually just going to disconnect from here for now. And the next thing I'm going to show you isn't really necessary if you're just playing with your friends, but if you're actually trying to run a server, you might want to use this. So we're going to take a look at the statistics real quick. And as you can see, CPU usage is very minimal. But we're actually going to click FPS. And if you take a look here, the FPS is stuck under 100. So I'm sure you're aware that some servers, like professional servers, are up to 1000 FPS, some even higher. So what we're going to do is we'll close this for now, and we're going to go back to our add-ons folder, and we're going to extract mmtimer. Okay, mmtimer is actually an FPS booster, so with this add-on we can actually increase our server's FPS significantly. Okay, so now that that's extracted, we're just going to wait for a second here. We're going to go into the cstrike folder once again, back into the add-ons, and make another folder, and we're going to name this one mmtimer. Now we're going to go into that folder and just drag and drop the mmtimer.dll into that folder. Once again, you're going to want to copy the name of the file and add it to the end here, so just another backslash and then paste it. And then we'll highlight all the way back to add-ons once again. So we're going to copy that line and go back to the metamod folder into the plugins.ini file. We're going to add another line, which is win32 tab, then paste that line, and then we're going to save the changes. Now we're going to go over to cstrike, and you should be able to find the server.cfg file, so we're going to open that. And we're going to go down a couple lines here. And this next line that I'm adding is just for tutorial purposes. It's not really needed. It's just going to tell us what the next few lines are for. So mmtimer FPS booster settings. Like I said, this line is not needed. This is simply for reference so that we know what the lines are for. And we're going to hit enter. Now the next couple of lines, I don't know them by heart. This is something that I do have to research from time to time because I'm not a programmer. So I actually have them written down in here. So this will be added in the description of my video. So you can take a look there and just copy these 3 lines and paste them in your server.cfg file if you want. The only ones that are necessary are these 2 lines here. So I'm just going to Control C to copy those. Then we're going to go back into the server file, and directly under mmtimer FPS booster settings, I'm going to paste that. Now as you can see here, I have an X surrounded by a greater than and smaller than symbol. Now this was just a placeholder, because depending on your server's hardware, you can set the FPS to whatever you think your computer can support. My computer is pretty powerful, so we are going to put it up to 1000 FPS. And we're just going to close and save the changes. Now with that done, we're just going to go back over to the front of the folder and run Half-Life Dedicated Server one more time. And we'll take a look at our FPS settings just to see what it's giving us here. So just click FPS once again. And as you can see, it shoots straight up right away. And it seems to peak at around 500. So for some reason FPS 1000 isn't working, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to change that to something else. So I'm going to go back into my Counter-Strike folder, open server.cfg, and I'm going to change this to 1100 instead. So now we'll open it up, and if you look at statistics one more time, the FPS is now shooting up to 1024. So it's not quite 1100, but it is making that 1000 FPS mark that I was looking for. It is staying pretty solid straight line, so that's good. If you see it bouncing up and down significantly, where it's very rarely at the top, you're going to want to lower your settings maybe down to the halfway point, or wherever it does balance out. So if you're balancing out at around here, and that's where it is most of the time, you're going to want to change it to about 250. So as you can see, everything's running, so we're just going to connect one more time to the server. So I'll go ahead and copy the IP first this time. And there we have it. So we're back in here. I'm going to pick terrorist once again, since it's the only thing you can do when you're alone. So as you can see, everything's working fine. Now I'm not going to get into adding admins. I'll leave that for a later tutorial. But the links in the description will bring you to a website that will have all that information for you. As for system requirements, my computer is actually fairly new. It's about 2 years old now, but it does have some good hardware. So I'm just going to take a look at that for you and give you an idea of what you should be using. So I got here by just hitting the Windows key and the pause key on my keyboard, and this is just to take a look at the hardware. As you can see, I got a Pentium dual core CPU, E6600, 3.06 gigahertz, and I do have 2 gigabytes of RAM. So that's not really all that much. I would actually suggest you get about 4 gigabytes of RAM, especially if you're going to be running your server permanently. As for internet connection, you will want a fast upload speed, so if you're looking to get about 32 people on your server, then you're going to want at least 2 megabit per second upload speed. If you only have about 1 megabit per second upload speed, I would suggest cutting down the amount of people that can actually connect to your server, because if you do have a lot of people connecting, it will lag your server significantly. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to create your own Half-Life dedicated server. Enjoy playing with your friends, and come back and see me another time and I'll have a different tutorial up for you.